Good evening and welcome into the Pacers Podcast Show. I'm Kyle Newman, your host.
And I'm Esther Malone, your co-host.
By that, he means Rhett Hensley. He's in a good mood tonight, folks. The Pacers Show is here, so cheer. It's time to talk about the greatest team ever. A championship? No, not yet, but never say never. Like this show, it's a fresh start with new parts. The squad is ready, slow and steady. I can't hear you, Pacers fans. Make some noise! Tonight,
Whoop, whoop.
we will talk about the 2015-2016 schedule once again, more in depth. Paul George, and a couple other off-season topics. But this will be a short one, folks. Maybe half an hour, maybe a little over, we don't know. But I don't think we will get a full hour in, as there's just not a whole lot of off-season news going on right now until the season starts up. But nonetheless, Rhett, 25th Pacers Podcast Show. We are on a serious roll here, and we're ready to talk Pacers basketball. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm looking to talk some good old Pacers basketball.
You seem to be doing all right. You're in a chirpy mood tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I can already tell.
I'm feeling it.
You see,
I
folks,
got a feeling.
he's ready to do so well on his real estate exam tomorrow, and that's why he's so confident tonight. You know, he's going to pass it with flying colors.
No.
I got to throw
Not
it
gonna
out
happen.
there. This man,
People,
in fact,
I got a 44 on my practice exam. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
and people, just so you know, if you ever need a realtor, Rhett Hensley is an up-and-comer here. In about 24 hours, he will have his real estate license, and he will be getting his business cards ready. So please, if you're looking to buy a house, contact Rhett Hensley.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got your back. Rhett, let's get into this show here where we kind of left off with a big part of last week's show, and that's the 2015-2016 schedule upcoming. It's a juicy one. So I'm going to let you start this off here and talk a little bit more about this schedule, analyze some things, what stands out really to you, what are you really looking forward to seeing, just in general. Just talk about the schedule here.
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out, the Indiana Pacers have their season opener at Toronto. This is the first time I've seen the Indiana Pacers not have a home game for their first game of the season in a very long time. And it's never this early.
No, it isn't.
And the fun fact is, they're going to have 3 games by the 31st. So that's when they usually have their first game of the season. But, that's another great thing. Another great thing that they're going to be experiencing. And, we have a fun-filled schedule. The first 4 games are the Raptors, Grizzlies, which we want another snap at the Grizzlies. Tell you that right now.
Oh, yes, we do.
And the Jazz and Pistons. Those are the first 4 home games. If I want to break these down, we can beat all 4 of them, in my opinion. The Raptors don't got any thing against them, but the Grizzlies, I think that's going to be the toughest matchup out of the four games to start out. The Pistons, who knows? Who knows next year? What's going to happen with them? Do you have any thoughts about that, Kyle?
The Pistons?
Yes.
The Pistons, I think, will be improving again, as they have been, but they won't pose a threat to the Pacers in the East, nonetheless. I mean, you have the Cavs and the Bulls. So,
exactly.
Maybe they'll duel it out with the Bucks for the 4th spot in the Central Division, but they just don't have enough firepower yet. They've got the big men down low. Obviously, just had that huge signing, one that you didn't agree with. I'm trying to think of his name. It's slipping me right now.
Reggie Jackson.
That's right, Reggie Jackson. He will help the team a lot. but I don't know if that is enough. I think they still need a couple more pieces, a couple more veterans, a superstar on that team to really help them get over the hump. But they will be tougher, and I always like to play the Pistons. They seem to play us very well every single year. It's a division game, so they're always important. So, yeah, I definitely... I'm one who loves. That's why I love the Pacers' schedule. It's so diverse. They have tough games, but then they have some easier ones. But even the easier one, you can't overlook any game. And I like to see them go on a stretch where they play at Toronto to open the year, and then they get to come back home and, for the home opener, play the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. And then a couple nights later on Halloween, they get another home test against another West Coast team in Utah. So, and then at Detroit. Then you get into the Boston, Miami, Cleveland. I mean, it's like bang, bang, bang. Some easy, some hard, some easy. That's what I see in the Pacers' schedule, and I think that's good. That's a good test for Indiana, Rhett. They need that in their schedule because you know what? Let's say they come off of a loss opening game at Toronto. All right. Well, then they can come back home and try and square up that record against the team that knocked them out last year. They'll have blood out for them. All right. So that's what I like to see. The Pacers are a very good team about bouncing back after a loss. They've proven it under Frank Vogel over the years. And I expect that this year from this team, Rhett. I expect Indiana to not – it's a bold prediction, but I don't see Indiana losing more than 3 games in a row, all 82 games.
I could see that.
And, and I say that, I would be shocked if they lose more than 2 just a few times throughout the year. So, Indiana, they're just very good, and this schedule sets up for that. Because if you look at, all right, let's say, November 6th, home against Miami. Let's say that we lose to the rivals. Then we have to go at Cleveland. So let's say those are 2 straight losses. Then we're home to Orlando. I see us taking care of business there. That's the kind of way that the Pacers' schedule is set up. So that stands out to me as well, Rhett. But the marquee games, I love that all of the Heat Pacers games are on national TV, which is what I mentioned last week. I think that's great for this rivalry. It will be renewed. The Heat are going to be better. You got Bosh and Wade back, Goran Dragic. This team is going to be, a playoff team. They're going to make the playoffs, unlike last year. And so that rivalry will be a bit better. And then you're stoked for the Cleveland. You think for the Cleveland series that is going to be a rivalry starting.
Exactly. I think that the great thing about this is, we play the Miami Heat November 6th, and then we turn around 2 days later and play the Cleveland Cavaliers. A nice little, you think that's going to be the biggest rivalry of the year, and I think that the Cavs are going to be the biggest rivalry of the year. I think those 2 back-to-back games are going to be, showing how the Indiana Pacers are going to build off of that. Those are 2 tough games, probably going to be the toughest in the conference for them. So, we'll see, and I'm looking forward to those 2 days right there.
Me too. And what I was trying to do here as I'm looking at their schedule is find out which month is their toughest month. And then which month is their easiest month, Rhett. Maybe you can look at try and find which the month that you think looks like their easiest, and I'm going to try and find their hardest looking month here.
Well, I already found their hardest.
Okay, well, good. Then I'll look for their easiest. What do you see in the hardest month and why? What games are there?
Well, I think their hardest month is going to be December. You're starting out that first month of December with the LA Clippers. And then a day later, the Portland Trail Blazers. And then, a few days later after that, Golden State Warriors, then the Miami Heat. And then the Toronto Raptors, Dallas Mavericks, New York Nets, Memphis Grizzlies, San Antonio Spurs, the Hawks, the Bulls, and the Bucks. You know, that's going to be a tough one.
That will be. And you know what that tells me, Rhett? Think about that. So that's just over 2 months into the season. Where will the Pacers be at? Going into that tough stretch for that whole month, you'd love to see the Pacers well above 500 because they're going to lose some games that month, but they're going to win some games. So the key thing is the Pacers cannot be hovering right around 500 or even under it come December. That's going to be bad news for the end of the year, and it will not make for a happy new year 2016 to start out. So, you know, as looking at it there, I agree with you, but as I'm breaking down the schedule, there's really no easy month except
I would say April.
April is what I have come. Like, besides April, and it's only because there's 7 games in the shortened month before the playoffs, every other month, the Pacers have a very difficult schedule.
Exactly.
It's hard to pick another month out, but there's no doubt about it that April is their hardest month. They've got the Knicks, the Sixers, the Raptors, the Nets, the Knicks again, and the Bucks. Their 2 toughest games in that month is Cleveland and Toronto. In Brooklyn, I'm hearing a lot of talks about them taking a huge step back and not being nearly as good.
The who?
This next year, the Nets.
Oh.
So, and I can see that. I think that team's falling apart, and they're getting older.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would agree with that. I don't know. Bold prediction, will the Knicks end up being the better New York team next year? Maybe
they'll be better.
Maybe so. But for sure, April. So that's the thing, Rhett. If you're the Pacers, oh my gosh, you got to wait till the last month of the season until you get your easiest month. They got to be on the grind every single day.
Exactly. And, you know, I think this is a great test for the Indiana Pacers. Not only can they show their haters, can they prove them wrong, but, you know, they can make a great push and look even better and possibly even earn more TV time for ESPN and NBA TV.
Exactly, and that is a key. That is a key for sure. Basically, Indiana, you can't take any nights off. Every game matters come regular season, and that's something that you know that they understand, and they're gonna go balls blazing.
Exactly. No pun intended.
Exactly. No pun intended. But they will go all out. Rhett, there are a couple games that are already set for the preseason for the Pacers. Their first preseason game, Friday, October 9th, at home against Orlando. October 9th.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's gonna be interesting.
Less than 2 months away before we get to see Pacers play basketball.
That's going to be great. You know, I would like to say that Miles Turner posted a video of him, Paul George, Joey Buckets, and a couple other of the Pacers players hitting it hard in a workout today.
I saw that.
That's great to see.
It is great to see. Paul George, that veteran leadership, able to work with the young guns. And you know that'll be very beneficial. But Orlando, first preseason game, second preseason game 11 days later, Tuesday, October 20th, at Chicago. Taking on the old rival Bulls. That's always a good one. Obviously preseason, but that's something I wanted to kind of wrap the segment up with, Red, is as we know a couple of their preseason games. What do you think about preseason in the NBA as it compares to the NFL? Is it same feelings? You don't care about it? You don't like it?
I think it should be shortened. I don't think it's really worth anything. I'm not a big fan of watching it. I don't catch any interest in it. I think that there's, kind of like I said with the NFL, it's one of those things where it at least needs to have one game. Because, that is a time for, the young guns to show something. But I think more than two is just absurd.
Well, here's the thing. This is where I'm going to differ a bit. I think that the preseason in the NBA is much more important and beneficial to the young guns than it is in the NFL. In the NFL, you've got a lot more players on that field. In the NBA, these young guns that are trying to make that roster really have something to prove, and it's valuable game experience, Rhett, for them.
That's what the summer league's for.
From that aspect, yes, but in the summer league, you're not playing against starters or even backups. It's guys who are trying to make the league, and so I think that the preseason in the NBA is even more important for the young guns to try and make an impression and to get some real NBA game experience.
Two games would be plenty.
Yeah, I don't know how many there are. What, about 10? Between 10 and 15 usually?
No, I think that there's around 6 or 7.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I think that is fine. I would not like to see that changed.
I would.
I think that is perfect. I think that that's the right amount for NBA, which, another thing is they got to get used to. I mean, they're playing an 82-game schedule as opposed to an NFL 16 games. I mean, they got to get some mileage under their vehicles. They got to utilize that gas in the tank. They got to get on the grind. So I like that with the preseason, but I did want to throw that out there. A couple preseason games are already on the schedule. Curious to see where your stance was on that compared to the NFL. And now we know that the Pacers are going to be playing basketball October 9th.
I just don't. One thing that I would just like to say about the preseason, it just frustrates me. They play the starters a little bit, but it's a time for, it doesn't matter, and it's a great opportunity for somebody to get injured, and nobody takes it really flat out serious. So the only people that really take it really serious are the young guns trying to prove something,
which is very important.
And I don't want to see anybody get injured in preseason.
No, you don't. But then it's that catch-22 because you can get injured at any point. There's just no telling.
Yeah, but I mean, do you want to get injured in preseason or in the regular season?
You wouldn't want to get injured at all.
I mean, would you want to get injured in something that does not matter whatsoever, or something that you were probably playing your heart out in when it actually mattered?
If you had a choice when it mattered, that's the obvious thing to me. But in the end, these guys, you don't want to get injured at all, but you can't predict things like that. You certainly can't have preseason games just to avoid the threat of injuries.
7 or 8 are just kind of absurd. There's no need for that.
Plus, these guys make their dough. I mean, they're getting paid as preseason's part of their career, as part of their job. So, I look at it from that standpoint as well.
Yeah, but you also see that players wanting it, games actually cut out, and that's out of the regular season. Why not cut some of the preseason out?
I don't know. Some people feel like
start it
early.
Start it early and spread the season out.
Maybe it will someday, but nonetheless, I guess the league sees a need for it still and likes the tradition of it, so it's going to continue.
There's been talks.
It will be interesting to see going forward. So switching gears a little bit, though, this is something that's, again, right up Rhett's alley, but Paul George, I've read an article the past few days that came out that he might be in line for a signature shoe. And I've got to be honest, I didn't realize he didn't have one already. But the up-and-coming superstar that he is certainly would deserve one. But what I've gotten is he's among players that could be in line for a signature shoe. It's power ranking of the most improved teams this offseason, and USA Basketball moves the placement of its basket stanchions. That's another bit of news. The basket stanchion was what caused Paul George's horrific injury, and they've now moved it back 2.5 feet like they should, so this won't happen again, or at least it increases the chances that it won't. And so I love to see that. But, the whole PG-13 plays into his whole marketing chance of getting a line because they see his new PG-13 nickname is just asking to be creatively.
Wow.
I was struggling with that word. Creatively branded. The Pacers' colors, when applied appropriately, are really cool. With a return to form, George appears worthy of some innovative new kicks. I like how SI.com's Jeremy Wu put that right there.
Yeah,
He
and
appears worthy of some innovative new kicks. He certainly does, and he does have some cool colors. He traditionally wears the gold Pacers-colored shoes, and I love to see them. And he will have a nice, sick line. There's no doubt about it. I want to see it.
I would like to say he has his own shoe right now, but it's not his own shoe deal. It's not his signature shoe. Even though it says PG on it, it's deployed by Nike. He wears a Hyper Rev shoe, but it's not his solely signature shoe.
Well, I can tell you right now, I'd love to see it because I like the shoes he wears as it is. I can just imagine the creativity
and you can
come in from marketing.
You can buy his shoe in stores right now. You can go to Foot Locker. I have a friend that plays ball in them. But, those are pretty sweet. I would love to see what they're going to come out with, and I think he deserves it.
I would too. I do too. And like I said, the 2.5 feet of them moving the stanchions back, USA Basketball made the right move there. It's what did his injury in and caused him to miss essentially the whole year. And so they finally made the right decision there. Should have been done a long time ago. But that's the international rules for you, the basketball dimensions. The thing is, Rhett, as this bleeds into what you wanted to talk about a little bit with a disrespectful ranking that an insider had on the Pacers and Paul George's comments on it, I want to throw this out here first. Now, this is a more respectable ranking that Bleacher Report's Daniel Ferrara has for the Indiana Pacers. He ranked them 12th among all NBA teams, so out of 30, for most improved during the offseason. Here's what he had to say about him. I want your comments on him. On one hand, I love the Monte Ellis signing because he's the scoring playmaker they desperately needed to complement Paul George and take some of the load off his shoulders. On the other hand, however, I detested the Roy Hibbert trade. I don't care how good you think number 11 pick Miles Turner is going to be. You don't trade Hibbert for a second-round pick. The smart move would have been to start the year with a starting five of George Hill, Monte Ellis, Paul George, Jordan Hill, and Roy Hibbert, with Turner on the bench easing his way in and learning. Rhett, what do you think about those comments there and that 12th ranking?
Well, I think the 12th ranking is, somewhere more in the ballpark. But as far as, the Roy Hibbert issue, I can see where he's coming from, keeping the core right there together, some of it. But also,
the issue is we were paying him $15 million, and he was not performing.
Exactly. He was not performing. And, Jordan Hill, you can think of it as, he's not great at defense. He's not going to bring anything compared to what Roy Hibbert did defensively, but he's going to help in the rebounding and scoring position of that.
And Frank Vogel will make him a better defender on this team.
Hopefully.
It happens with all of the players. That's what he drives first. He'll be a better defender than he's ever been in his career, but nowhere on Hibbert's level. But, I disagree. When it makes sense financially, you do trade Roy Hibbert for a second-round pick because that's what he was performing like. I mean, he was not getting it done for $15 million a year. And I'll tell you right now, you've made this prediction. You're confident in it. I'm fully confident that Miles Turner will end up being more productive than Roy Hibbert has been for the Indiana Pacers the past 2 years.
Exactly.
And how could you not think so? The man has a 3-point repertoire added to his game. I mean, he can do everything that Roy Hibbert can't. So I disagree with what he has to say about that. I think it's a pretty respectable 12th ranking. I agree with him. The Monte Ellis signing is desperately what the Pacers needed to complement Paul George. That's clear. But I disagree with him, like you, on what he says about Roy Hibbert. To me, it just goes to show he's not been paying much attention to the Indiana Pacers the past couple years with Roy Hibbert.
Yeah, he might have been thinking that, bringing in Monte Ellis, that's going to bring a big factor of him not, contributing to the defensive end. So Roy Hibbert being that anchor down low to stop people. But, that's the only way I'm thinking of it, as a respectable answer from him.
Exactly. So now, talk about an analyst who broke down and gave the Pacers a ranking, and then Paul George's comments on it.
Sorry, what was that?
Go ahead and break down. Someone had a brain fart. Go ahead and break down the disrespectful analysis that one columnist contributor had about the Indiana Pacers ranking, and then Paul George's comments, and then yours.
Yeah, exactly. So, an analyst from ESPN commented saying, when he wrote down the rankings, the Indiana Pacers were going to be 9th ranked in the conference. Paul George's response was on Twitter, crying laughing face, 9th, ? All right. That's basically him. Wow, how disrespectful was that? We're about to prove you wrong, and you can shove it. Again, that's what I got out of that. That's what I got when I read that.
A guy who clearly has not paid attention to the Indiana Pacers.
Exactly, and I think it's just flat out disrespectful from this guy to even put the Indiana Pacers close to the Hornets on the list. The Hornets are 10th. All right, putting us beside them is just asinine.
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
The Miami Heat being ranked 4th up there, I think that we should be we should be closer to them than anything, because I will put money down on it that the Indiana Pacers will have a better record than the Miami Heat this year.
I would agree with that. So Paul George, like us, was not very pleased about that. Found it pretty disrespectful too. What did he have to say about it?
Paul George?
Yes.
That's what he said. The crying 9th. That's what he just posted on Twitter.
Oh,
the crying laughing face 9th.
Oh, that's where the question mark came from. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, and see, that's the sense of humor I like to see from Paul George.
Yeah, shake it off. Just shake it off.
I mean, it's pretty clear. Obviously, they have high expectations, and I've predicted Indiana to finish 3rd in the East. I put them behind the Cavs and the Bulls, but having said that, it's going to be very close, because I do think the Hawks are going to be right there, 3-4. And I could go either way. What will this Bulls team look like? Will Derrick Rose look like the superstar Derrick Rose proved that he was looking like again last year? Can he stay healthy? If that's the case, I would go Cavs, Bulls, and then I'm going to go Pacers because I believe in them. But I can see the Hawks going 3 and the Pacers 4. But I would put the Heat past the Pacers. I mean, 5, 6. They're not going to be a better team than Indiana this year. I just don't see that happening. So, yeah, that's what stands out to me about that. Clearly, that guy has not paid attention to the Indiana Pacers. He may have looked at the moves, but to predict that, what it goes to show is he's obviously underestimating. He's basically saying that Paul George is going to suck. He's basically saying Monte Ellis is overrated, and he's saying that these young guys the Pacers picked up are going to be a bust. With a prediction like that, that's what he's basically stating. And it's disrespectful, clearly. The Pacers finished 9th and almost made the playoffs without Paul George, without David West for a lot of the year, without George Hill, and didn't have these couple extra pieces. if there was ever an asinine statement and Stephen A. Smith would pull that word out, this is that situation. It's ridiculous. Not to mention in an Eastern Conference that compared to the West is much weaker. Just don't get it. Just do not get it. But did find that interesting. We are much like Paul George. We'll just have to prove that man wrong. But nonetheless, it is worth mentioning. That is one of the few analysts that I've heard come out with a ridiculous prediction for the Pacers like that. I've had a lot of middle of the pack, 12th area out of 30 teams for ranking the Pacers in their offseason. So much more respect across the board from other insiders for sure. But Rhett, as we're winding down here and the segments are becoming thin, there's a couple other minor off-season topics I stumbled upon that I just wanted to touch on. But there were some basketball insiders that said that Miles Turner is a potential franchise-changing player. So before I go into any more about that, do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Would you like to repeat that one again?
My colleague is having some trouble tonight, folks. A potential franchise-changing player, Miles Turner. Do you agree or disagree with that? And based on your response, why?
I think he could be. You couldn't really tell much from the summer league because it is people fighting to get into the NBA. But from that, she showed a ton of potential for that, and I think that those people that really just excel in the summer league really just kill it. Making the All-NBA team for the Summer League, that's pretty impressive. And especially to have two people from your roster make the All-NBA TV team, that is even more impressive.
There's some reasons to be confident in that statement.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's 10 people that got picked before him. So that they completely could have got put on that All-NBA TV team. But, going forward, I see him having great potential to be a franchise player in the future for the Indiana Pacers because of his defensive ability to block, his offensive ability to shoot the ball. He's got a nasty turnaround jumper. Reminds me of a LaMarcus Aldridge or a Dirk Nowitzki. He's got the whole thing. He's got a three-point shot. He's got everything. He's fully loaded.
He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, and, I could see him definitely being the black guy of a Dirk Nowitzki.
Well, he definitely reminds me of that from what I've seen, and he says he feels right at home. And you mentioned the stats. How could you not feel confident in the guy? He's 19 years old, and he's already exhibited plenty of star potential. This is the right adjective to use for his play in 3 games in the Orlando Summer League. Dominant. He averaged almost 19 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 4 blocks per game while converting almost 61% of his shots. That's ridiculous. Those numbers, just think about that. That's right at Monte Ellis's career average in the NBA, points-wise. This guy is a power forward. And a 19-year-old power forward. 8 rebounds per game? Boy, if we ever saw 8 rebounds per game for 5 straight games from Roy Hibbert, it was a miracle.
Exactly.
And 4 blocks per game? What is he, Hakeem Olajuwon? That is absolutely stunning numbers to me. And then 61, you mentioned his shooting ability, which the 19 points per game proves. But how about accurate shooting? Clearly takes the right smart shots. 61% of his shots he made.
Wow.
Those numbers are mind-boggling for a power forward. And if he can prove that, which is another reason why I'm a big preseason advocate in the NBA especially, if he can prove to be putting up those type of numbers when he gets some actual NBA game experience in the preseason, boy, that's going to lead in well to the regular season, Rhett.
Yeah, exactly.
And he talked about his goals for this upcoming year. He wants to compete for the starting center position. I like that word, compete. He wants to earn significant playing time. Significant. He wants to help the team make the playoffs, and he wants his name in the conversation, for Rookie of the Year honors. He said, being Rookie of the Year is definitely a goal of mine, and hopefully it's something that I can take with me and have in my back pocket throughout the rest of the course of my career. And right now, we had mentioned that photo that he's putting in work with the boys. He's been working out at Bankers Life with all of them. With Glenn Robinson III, the free agent acquisition, and then fellow rookies Joe Young and Rakeem Christmas. Paul George joined the quartet, and he's been mentoring them, and they've been doing several fishing trips. So, Rhett, these men are bonding. This is great for the chemistry. He's got great goals and expectations that we have, the Pacers fans and this organization has on him, and now it's just will he pan out? Will he prove? Will he be able to walk the walk?
And he can walk the walk. I have great faith that he can.
And that's good. Faith is good. I believe it too, and I want to see it. He's a very humble man. He's proud, thankful to be where he's at. It's a dream to him that he's always had, and to think that he's younger than you, Rhett, is hard to believe when you put it into perspective. And so, I love to see that. It's just another typical Pacer, a true Pacer that deserves to wear that uniform when they carry themselves like that with that character. Now, I don't know about his haircut, but he definitely fits in with the Pacers, Rhett. There's no doubt about it.
Exactly, yeah. Don't know about the haircut, but I see him definitely fitting in with the Indiana Pacers. And the Indiana Pacers, if you're humble and you work hard, you're going to fit in just well, just right.
You will indeed, Rhett. Another thing I stumbled upon here is we basically are down to the home stretch here, is a little segment I saw on Pacers.com, Get to Know Your 2015-2016 Pacers. And one of the guys is as we go through a few of these here, how about Lavoy Allen, Rhett? And as we go through, I just want you to give me your prediction for these players this year. And I'm going to base it off of their career averages. And I want an over and under in these situations. And I'll start with Lavoy Allen. I'm not going to go through a couple of the interesting facts and things with them, but I'll just go through their career averages. And I want an over under, right? Lavoy Allen, we'll start with him. He's averaged 5 points and almost 5 rebounds per game in his career. Over under that this year for the Indiana Pacers.
Can we have a neutral?
No, you cannot. You have to go over or under 5 points, 5 rebounds.
I think he's going to be used a lot more this year, so I'm going to have to probably say over.
Okay, so give me a number.
Say he'll have right at 6 points and probably 6 rebounds.
So barely over.
Barely over. That's
okay.
Why I asked for a neutral.
That's okay. No neutral. No, that's good. Over's over. All right, next man, Chase Budinger. Another pickup that I love that the Pacers did. Nobody's talking about him, and I think he can be an X factor. So I'm going to give his numbers right here. 8.6 points per game on his career, and then 36% three-point shooting. Pretty solid. So we're going to, since it's an 8.5, it's a terrible number, what we're going to do is we're going to go 8.5. We're going to go over under 8.5 points and 36% from downtown.
Under.
What a disrespectful man. All right. I appreciate the insight and the honesty. All right, under what do you expect from him then?
I expect him to sit on the bench.
So what's your under number? 8.5 points. You're under that. So what do you think he averages this year for the Pacers?
3 points.
Wow. Low ball.
I expect him to average probably no more than 4, but I would probably see it right at 3 points. 3.5. He's going to be a Chris Copeland for the Indiana Pacers sitting on the bench.
That is interesting. I don't agree with that. I think that he is going to be. I'm going to make. You know what? Forget it. I am going to make that bold prediction. I'm going over.
Good God.
I'm going 9 points per game. And I think he will. I'm going to put him at 37%.
That's like saying you're going to grow.
37% 3-point shooting. I see it happening. This guy is a good bench player, and he will add some depth for the Pacers. He plays the forward position and shoots well from downtown. That's what the Pacers need. Rhett, you say...
Honestly,
honestly,
the only time this dude's going to be touching the ball is when he's helping Boom around the fourth quarter shoot the balls out to the fans.
What an incredibly disrespectful negative outlook from Rhett. Oh my gosh, I think he will prove you wrong, Rhett. I think that he is going to come in and contribute, and I can see him knocking a few threes in a game when he.
Hey, hope he proves me wrong. Hope he proves me wrong.
So I'm gonna disagree with that one. I'm going over. He's going under. The next man up, Rakeem Christmas, if he even makes the roster, which he probably won't. But regardless.
Ooh, that was cold.
Yeah, it was. But it's realistic. The thing with Rakeem Christmas, he's averaged. Now this was in the 2015 Las Vegas Summer League, but he averaged 8 points and 4.5 rebounds, Rhett. Let's say he doesn't make the Pacers, but he does play for the Mad Ants. Do you give him an over-under 8 points and 4.5 rebounds?
I give him an over.
Wow.
I see some potential with this guy.
So
I got that
what do you give
feeling.
him, then? What's the number?
I'd say he'll average right at 10.
Okay. I can dig it. You know, I'm going to agree with that if he ends up not making the team, which is pretty much expected.
Yeah, that's totally a different answer if he's in the NBA, obviously.
I'd hope so.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be I think he's going to be a player that's going to get sent around to teams. But, I think that he could be pretty decent, after a while. Gets that development. And, he is 23, so there's not too much room to develop.
Not much.
No.
Not much. I can, I won't agree with that. I think he'll go under. It makes the Mad Ants. I think he'll go under that. I'll give him 7. I'll give him 7 points.
I thought you said you could dig that.
I can dig and respect what you're giving him, but I don't.
I'm pretty sure you just said you agreed with it too.
He's going under.
What?
I don't see it. I don't see it. The next man, Tony Douglas. A lot of talk about this guy. If he makes the roster here, Rhett, he's averaged 7.6 points and 2.2 assists per game in his career. So I'm going to go over under 7.5 points and 2 assists per game.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking myself.
Oh, well, you could have answered a little quicker.
What do you see?
You said you were asking yourself. What are we going here, Kyle? What are we doing?
I was being facetious, Rhett. Why would I ask myself? Come on, I was being sarcastic.
Oh,
7.5 points.
That one went.
Over under.
I'd definitely say under because he's not going to make the team.
Wow. So if he goes and plays for the Mad Ants, you're not going to give him over 7.5 points?
I'd probably give him 7.5 points if he makes the Mad Ants, but not for the Indiana Pacers.
Okay, so he's going over 7.5, so you're going to give him 8 points, in other words.
I'm not disrespecting Tony Douglas here.
Yeah, you are.
I have great faith
No, you don't.
that Joey Young is going to do the Indiana Pacers right. So, no offense to Tony Douglas. I just don't want him don't want him on the bench.
Well,
Young.
I'm going to go over for 7.5 points. And, yeah, it may end up being the Mad Ants, but regardless, I'm going over that. And I'm going over 2 assists. I think he'll average 4 assists per game, and I think he's going to average 12 points per game for the Mad Ants. That's my prediction. The
How
man's
much?
gonna 12 points, 4 assists.
How much?
That's right.
Good
12
God.
points. It's going to be, I expect it. I believe it. I'll see it. All right. Monte Ellis, the next one. The promising player here. Over under 19 points per game and 5 assists per game.
Under.
Wow. Rhett. All I can do
Obviously.
is shake my head.
Obviously, it's gonna be under because you have 2 superstars now on the team. You have Monte Ellis and Paul George. He's not going to be scoring that much. The ball is going to be primarily in Paul George's hand this year. He is the secondary option for the Indiana Pacers. So telling me that he's going to average more than 19 points a game, that is just absurd. I see at least probably 15 or 16 points a game and dishing out some good assists.
Some good assists. So over or under 5.
No neutral, so I'll go over. Probably right at 6 or 7.
Right at 6 or 7. Nice and vague. That's Rhett Hensley. Okay. I am going to agree with you, but I'm going to give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. Because
I'd give him a little
I
close.
think that it is Paul George, and you've mentioned this, we've talked about this. He is not a selfish player, and Monte Ellis could very well be the man that has the ball in his hands, closing games out or whatever. He's getting hot, he's going to keep shooting. That's one thing. If there's one thing we know about Monte Ellis, and this is what some people were weary about with him coming, is he can be a selfish basketball player too. He likes to take shots. I expect him to take shots. I'm going under, but I'm going to give him 17 points per game that he's going to average.
I could see that.
And I'm going to, and I'm going to go. I'm going to go under on the assists. I think he's going to average 4 assists per game for the Pacers. He won't be the passing won't be as high for averages, but that certainly interesting.
I could honestly see that I might have did that a little high, but I'm sticking with it.
Good. Stick with your instincts. All right, Paul George. Over, under, we're going to go his career average, like we've been doing everyone. 15 points, 6 rebounds.
Oh, yeah, over.
Over or under 15 points and 6 rebounds?
I'm going to put it this way. Over 20.
Wow. That's what I like to hear. Well, we're going to keep it simple here. I agree. But let's see if we agree with the same numbers. What number are you going to give him?
24.
Okay, that is stupid, insane coincidence because I was going to say 24 too.
Well,
and no, it's not because it was his old number. And no, it's not because it's Kobe Bryant's number. No, it is because I really do believe that I saw 21.
I did like 25, but I like even numbers, so I had to bump it down.
Me too. But I didn't do it for that reason, psycho. 24 is what I'm giving him too. 6 rebounds. I'm going to go over. I think he's going to average 7 rebounds a game. He is improving his rebound, and he's going to have to prove it, be in that 4 position.
Yeah, he's definitely going to. How many rebounds did they have as an average?
6 rebounds, so it's over under 6.
Yeah, I'd say 7 or 8. Exactly.
Well, we're on the same page with Mr. Paul George for sure. How about the next man here? George Hill, our point guard. I guess the only true point guard besides Joe Young, if he ends up getting in, that the Pacers are going to still have. I love the man from Ooey Pooey. 7 years pro, 29 years old. G. Hill, the man himself. Rhett, over under 11 points, 3 assists per game.
Say 12 points. I'll say over. Say 12 points.
How about assists? 3 assists per game.
He averaged 3 assists
In his career, yeah, that's low.
That's pathetic. He ain't no Cliff Paul.
That just
That's
goes
for
to
sure.
show that he is a true shooting guard.
Yeah, if he comes into the shooting guard role, I expect 12 points or more.
Okay, but what about assists, over under?
I'd hope over.
So
I'm going to go with over. Probably 4.
All right. So you're going 12 points and 4 assists.
I truly love even numbers.
No faith. All right. George Hill is going to average 13 points per game. Maybe 14, but you can't pick 2, so I'm going to go with 13, and he's going to average 6 assists per game. We're going to see
That's ballsy.
over. We're going all out. George Hill has improved his assist game. He averaged more than 3 assists last season. I think he averaged 5. So if we can get a little number up there, that his career average, he's going to be right at. I'm putting him at 6. He proved that he was a much better passer. He improved it a lot last year. I think he's going to continue that trend. I'm going 6, 13 and 6.
He averaged 5 assists last year.
That's right. Yeah, he'll be over. He'll be over 3, that's for sure. I'm putting him over 5. All right, the next man, Jordan Hill. Over under 8 points, 6 rebounds per game.
Jordan Hill, 8 points, 6 rebounds. Really depends. I don't know if he'll more than likely be starting at the beginning. You said 8 points?
8 points, 6 rebounds.
All right, I'd expect 10 points at least, and probably 8 rebounds.
Respectable. He's going over. I agree with the overs, but I'm giving the man the more benefit of the doubt. He has promise.
Oh, good God.
He has promise, and he's going to contribute.
Apparently, people were going to be scoring about 250 points a game with Kyle's prediction.
He's going to average 14 points per game.
Holy crap.
And he's going to average 9 rebounds per game. This man is going to be over, and he is going...
This dude's slap happy.
Yeah, he's going to be over, and I expect big things from him. So, yeah, I'm going 14 and 9.
Yeah, you understand. He averaged 12 points per game last year.
That's right. And I expect 14 in the Pacers scheme.
And that was because nobody was on that team.
Exactly. Now the players will make him better around him, so he'll score even more. That's what I'm expecting. The man who is on our last nerves, Rhett, the next man here who it's do or die this year, Solomon Hill. Over under 7 points, 3 rebounds.
I'll say 8 points a game.
So he's going over. How about 3 rebounds?
I'd hope. I'm going to give the guy the benefit of the doubt and say 4.
You know what? We are right on cue. I'm going 8 and 4 too. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if that's going to be good enough for this man to be in a Pacers uniform next year.
Exactly.
I just don't think I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. Chase Budinger will play more than Solomon Hill. That is my bold prediction. He will contribute more to the Pacers than Solomon Hill will off the bench.
I'm guessing you took it offensive when I told you that the only way he's going to be touching the basketball is when he's shooting it out in the fourth quarter.
Very.
You have to understand, that was pretty clever. That was a very clever statement.
It was clever, but yes, absolutely. All right, so the next man here, Rhett, this man is also on the brink.
Ooh,
Jan Mahimi. Jan Mahimi, over under 4 points and 4 rebounds per
Under.
game. Wow. Just goes to show what he thinks of Jan anymore.
I'm going to go at 3.9.
Jan, you gone. All right. So what is it? What you're going under 4 points, Rhett. Why?
Because I don't think there's going to be any room for him to play. I don't see any room for him to play. When he does, he's not going to do much. If he comes in, I'd say he's going to come in. He's probably going to average 5 minutes a game. If that, I expect this season.
He'll average cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
That's what he'll get. Yeah, I'm going under 2. I'm going to go 3 points as well, and I'm going to go 3 rebounds. Yeah. This is the last straw for these Solomon Hill and Jan Mahimi, I'm afraid. The next player, Rhett, C.J. Miles, that smooth man that he proved to be. Lethal 3-point shooter for the Pacers. Over under 10 points and 35% from downtown.
Over.
For both.
Yes.
All right, I respect it. What's your numbers?
He'll probably have 13 points a game. Averaging, I'll say 14. 14 points a game, and what was his percentage for 3-point shooting?
35.
35? I'll say he's going to shoot probably 37.
Very respectable. I'm going over, but I'm giving him more of the benefit of the doubt.
Oh,
This
good
man
God.
is quite the player. 15 points per game he's going to average, and he will shoot 40% from downtown. This man proved what he can do, and he's going to keep improving. Mas Fresco, he is going to prove to be that lethal. The best. In fact, he will be the best 3-point shooter on the Indiana Pacers, even above Paul George, who I think has proven that he's improved his a lot. He will be the best 3-point shooter on this team, and I'm going over on those, Rhett.
All right.
The last few here, and folks, isn't that something? It turns out we were going to end up getting in a full show. That's what happens when you talk Pacers basketball. All right. The next one here, Rhett, again, assuming, he doesn't make the roster, but he does play for the Mad Ants or something. Glenn Robinson III. He's averaged 2 points and 1 rebound in his career. So are you go over. Or under 2 points and a rebound?
Over. I think that'd be pretty pathetic if he didn't average more than 2 points a game.
I'll say, boy, his rebound at one per game, that's my average right there. Give him the benefit of the doubt. What numbers are you giving him?
I think that he could actually bring quite a bit of talent to the Indiana Pacers. I think that he has some potential. I think that he could average at least 5 points a game.
Look at that. How many rebounds?
2.
Okay, that's disrespectful. Let me tell you something. This man is going to average 6 points per game, and he's going to average 6 rebounds per game.
And I'm going off him making the NBA team.
There you go. Me too.
Oh.
There you go.
That's kind of asinine.
Glenn Robinson the third. You better believe it. All right, Rhett. Rodney Ballin Stuckey.
All right, going balls in on this one.
Under 13 points and 4 assists per game.
Can I go neutral?
No, you cannot.
All right, I'll go 13.3.
No. It has to be a number that is a full whole number that he would actually get. You can't score 13.3 points per game. In a game, you got to give me an over under 13 points and 4 assists.
See, I'll go with 12,
So
and I'm going under and he's going to average probably 4 assists.
Oh, so he's going right at it. I guess he's
Haha,
neutraling
went
it
neutral.
out. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go under on both. He's going to average 12 points per game. I'm agreeing with that. And he's going to average 3 assists per game. So, going under. Rodney Stuckey, though. Glad he's coming back. All right, the last few here. Miles Turner.
Mm-hmm.
This is bold, but we are going off career averages here. We're not talking college anymore, so we are talking the 3 games in the 2015 Orlando Summer League, and that would be over/under at 19 points and 8 rebounds and 4 blocks. We're going 3 categories here.
All right. I'm going over. I'm kidding. I'm gonna go under on points.
What's your number on points then?
If he plays, then I'm gonna go with 12.
Whoa. Okay.
No, 13. I'm gonna go 13.
All right, that's bold.
13 points a game, 8 rebounds, and
so you're going over under 8 rebounds.
2 blocks. Oh, I thought I was allowed to go neutral.
Making his own rules up. All right, he's going right. You're going right at 8 rebounds. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 blocks. You're going under that. That's understandable. All right, we're in some disagreement here.
Oh, good gosh. Disrespectful.
Over under 19 for Miles Turner. He's going to go under that. He's going to average 9 points per game for the Indiana Pacers.
Salty there.
8 rebounds. He's going to average 7 rebounds. So we're going 1 under there. And 4 blocks. He's going to be under that. I'm going to give him an agreement number that you had there. 2. He'll get 2 blocks per game, which is a good average.
I think you need to fill your mouth with chestnuts on that one for the points.
You better chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself.
All right, I'm also going off him actually taking that starting position away from Jordan Hill because I have great potential for this man. He is going to take that number 1 spot, and he's going to lead this team.
I don't agree with that. I think it's Jordan Hill's, but I think he'll get plenty of playing time. I think he will be on that.
I think we're in disagreement on that one, Kyle.
Looks like we're agreeing to disagree.
I don't want to agree to disagree. I want to say that he's going to have that spot.
That's okay, Rhett. It'll be great to see what plays out. The last 2 here. Shane Whittington. Over, under 3 points and 2 rebounds.
Under.
What a disrespectful man. Let's say he doesn't even make the roster, Rhett, and he goes to the Mad Ants. You're telling me you don't think this man, he'll come in and make 2 threes and average 6 points. Come on, son. All right, he's going 3 points.
Counting on that he's a power forward, I hope not.
He's going under 3 points and under 2 rebounds. The man proves he can make threes. All right, so what is it, Rhett?
He did?
What are you going under? Yeah, he did.
What, for the Mad Ants?
No, in the Summer League. Rhett, what are you going off of?
What are you going? I told you. I'm going under. He's gonna have 2 points a game. Yeah. You know, if he goes to the Mad Ants, I'll expect probably 10 points a game.
And how many over/under rebounds?
For the Mad Ants, I'd say 6. For the Indiana Pacers, 1.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in agreement. Career average, 2 points. He'll be under 3. 2 points. Rebounds, he'll be under 2. He'll be at 1. He'll get 2 points, 1 rebound if he's for the Pacers. If he's playing for the Mad Ants, 12 points, 3 rebounds. Over. Simple as that. And finally, last but not least, Joey Buckets. That's right, Rhett.
Mm-hmm.
If you have some faith in him, then you're going to have some faith. And yeah, I tell you what, we're going crazy here because we're going off of the Summer League 2015 games that he had. Over under, Rhett, 23 points and 3 assists per game.
obviously over.
That's right. You got to have him score more than Paul George.
I'd say under. I think he's going to have probably right at 12 points a game. I expect it. I expect great things from this man.
Over under 3 assists for the true point guard.
Four assists. Four
Okay.
assists.
All right. We're in disagreement for the last but not least. You know, it was expected. All right. But here's the thing.
I got great faith in this guy, and apparently you don't have faith in this Pacers roster, Kyle.
I do. I really do. But I'm going off of playing time. All right. Joe
And I expect playing time
Young.
from this guy.
Joe Young will be under 23 points. He will average 8 points per game for the Pacers because I do believe he'll make the team. And as far as assists goes, he'll average 5. The man can dish it out. So I'm going over that. But he's going to be at about 8 points per game. Isn't that something, Rhett? We had some agreeing to disagreeing
Yeah, we
that
did.
happened. But,
We
you know,
did.
that's okay. That's how it goes sometimes, right?
Yeah, and I'm sorry that you're wrong.
Me too. Me too. All right. That's it. Just like that. Over an hour in the books. I guess even when there's not much Pacers talk out there in the off season, we find some Pacers talk, and we talk. That's what happened. To recap what was discussed on this show, we talked about the 2015-2016 schedule again. We discussed Paul George and a couple other off-season topics. That is all that we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning into our show. Feel free to leave any comments. Tweet and retweet the show at Kyle M. Newman, at Rhett Hensley, and at Indiana Pacers Talk. We will be back at it next Wednesday by 8 Eastern Time. That's the hopes. We got it to you a little early thanks to our schedules this week. I'm Kyle Newman. Have a good night, and go Pacers.
Go Pacers.